somebody. He said, what? I said, yeah. I told him what happened. The next day, me and my cousin, we left and we went here down in the woods. We stayed there all day because we thought police was coming for us. So didn't nobody come. So that evening, we decided we were going out. So his parents, he was the oldest son, so they would let him take the car, although, he wasn't old enough. Wasn't old enough. And so we was up there getting some gas and looked and I saw my daddy come. He was driving in his pickup going fast. So what's going on? He pulled over. He said, hey, where you guys going? I said, we're going to check on some girl. He said, I think y'all need to come on back home. He said, the law is looking for you. So we turned around and went back, and the police were there, and they said, which one of y'all is Larry Neely? I said, I am. They said, we got you charged with attempted murder. They said, that old boy you stabbed, he said it was just a fraction of a hair from cutting his main artery. But said he go pull through. And then he told my cousin that he was charged with assault and battery. So they handcuffed us, put us in the car, took us away. My daddy and my uncle, they went and made bail, justice of the peace. And my daddy told me, he said, Larry, he said, son, you got me paying for some meat I can't even eat. Then later on, a guy bought this book to school called The Naked Soul of Iceberg Slim. I used to like to read, and when I get into reading a novel or something, I wouldn't stop until I finished. Kids would come over to play. My mother would say, well, you might as well go on because he's reading one of them old books. So he ain't coming out. So I read this book, and I was fascinated by it. So I say to the parents, be careful of what your kids read and listen to, because it could have an impact.
What is that book about?
The Naked Soul of Iceberg Sam. It was about this pimp. So I never was one of those pretty boys, but I was always one who got the good-looking women, primarily because I hated rejection, and so women that other guys thought was beautiful, they would be trying to get at them. I wouldn't say nothing to them, so then they would get curious. Why he don't say nothing? But they didn't know, It's not that I didn't want to. I just didn't want to be rejected, and so I would win like that. After I got out of school, I was running around on these streets. A letter from Uncle Sam. But before that, over in the Southern Terror Projects over by Lincoln High School, that's where we used to hang out. That's where a lot of my family lived, grew up. We used to play football out in front of the projects. I met this girl, and she became my wife. I knew her grandmother, but way before. My cousin and two of my buddies saw her and another girl walking to the corner store. And so we started walking. And they were talking, and I'm just walking. But anyway, I got picked. She's the mother of three of my sons, including the one who...
He's so fascinated by his daddy.
Yeah. But I must say, she been with me thick and thin, sick of sin. I left, I got drafted, and after I went in the military, it's a lot of prostitution and stuff go on around military bases.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. And so I would go down, and those other guys would go down to, find them a lady. I'd be dressed. I didn't wear no military stuff. I wore street clothes. And I was playing a role, like I was a Mack. But I didn't know nothing but what I had read in the book. So, so one night a lady came up and approached me about a date. That's what they called it. And I looked at her and said, "How much money you got?" And she said, "Oh." And the next time I was in there, she came up to me and handed me a wad of money. And she said, "I want you to be my man." My heart like jumped out of my chest. And she had this guy, as a pimp, called Green, out of North Carolina. I know that I was supposed to tell him that his lady had chose. I told him. He had some more women too, but he said, "Oh, you done got into the big leagues now. You don't know what you doing." And so the next night he kidnapped and he took her off and he beat her and he beat her. He beat her, man. He had her face swole up, my nose bloody.
So
And
he
then,
wasn't mad at you.
yeah, he was mad at me, but he know, no. So then he came back to the place and got out and made her get out the car, and there was a lot of players and stuff standing around. And he told us, "Now tell him who you for." And she was crying and snot was running out of her nose, and she pointed. She said, "Larry." And he went to hit her again. I blocked his hand. So you can't touch it no more. And that was the beginning.
That was the beginning. Where were you stationed?
Fort Polk.
Okay. So after that experience,
After that, before I knew it, I had 4 or 5.
I'm curious about this as a woman myself. What is the characteristics of a woman that you can pimp? Do a woman needs to be like? How do you know that woman is ready for that type of lifestyle?
Well, now, some guys look for young girls or whatever and do what they call turn them out. You understand? I never done that. Every woman that I ever had, she was already turned out. She chose me. I didn't choose her. I mean, that eradicates some guilt.